Just going to give a few seconds to let everybody join. Okay, let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome again. Thank you for joining us for the final webinar of our series. My name is Marcella Poloski, and I am ERP-One Sales Coordinator and your host for today's webinar. Before we get into it, as always, I will provide you with a background on ERP-One and who we are. ERP-One is an ERP solutions provider. We provide consulting for JDE in technical, application, development, and project management. We also provide long-term support via staff augmentation or managed services. Our team has over 20 years of experience working with clients as an extension of their team, and we pride ourselves on our client-centric approach. Our goal is to help customers get the most value out of their ERP investment. Today's presentation, Package Build Automation, is presented by Nick Wilson. He is our Innovation and Technology Lead and has been with ERP-One for over 15 years now. He specializes in project management, digital transformation, architecture design and review, and upgrade planning and execution. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, please drop them in the comment box. We'll make sure to address them at the end. And if you do miss any important points, please note this is being recorded. I'll now pass it on to Nick. Thank you and enjoy.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Marcella, and welcome everybody to our final webinar of the year. With the topic today is package automation and how we can enable or utilize some of the existing or Oracle delivered orchestrations to achieve that. So to start, let's talk about why do you care, or why do customers care that about package automation? And really, comes down to time and the length of time and process that it takes to perform these packages. You need to use a CNC person, an administrator of the system, to manage and build or compile the code that's included in package builds. The package build process itself is complex and requires a lot of understanding of the architecture of the customer environment, how many environments they use, something called the transfer activity rules, which moderates the change control.
Sorry to interrupt you, Nick. You're not sharing your screen.
I guess that would be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Here we go. Luckily, this was the only slide I've moved on to. Sorry about that. So as I was saying, it's a long process. It is hard to complete. And to boot, the package build and assemble and build portions are separated from the deployment portion, which had previously had some constraints and timing issues. And so this package build is utilized in two different processes. Although you may look the same, it is utilized in change management, so DevOps, as well as release management. And so we'll dive into those shortly. And so again, why is it important? Is that from a change management perspective, it is included in the DevOps or development operations. And so focus on customers who are in a development cycle, who are fixing problems in production, potentially, and or deploying customizations in a rapid manner. They can also include module development, some modern development and configuration. So that's the new tools and features, as well as modifying Oracle code. Speaking of Oracle code, release management is the second of the two major processes where this can be applied to. And it includes updates by Oracle. So whether you're applying release 25 or cumulative updates from Oracle, or applying individual ESUs, all of these processes are the same and require a package build and deploy. So looking at where this is used and in terms of environments, the package build and promote and deploy processes allow customers to take code that has been developed in one environment and push it up to a higher environment. And so this is used from DV being promoted up to the PY environment and then into production. The environment use and what each environment is used for, sorry, can vary. And so in the DV environment, we focus on development, some unit testing. In PY, we would be focusing on end-to-end or unit integrated, or sorry, integrated testing and validation. And then production is where obviously our end users would be using the system in day to day. Regardless of those uses, moving that code is the same. And so these features are trying to enable this automation is useful on all these fronts. So diving into how we're going to do this, we're going to back up a little bit and look at a couple features quickly. And one of them is enabling the package build process to happen on the web. This eventually turns into orchestrations that are delivered by Oracle, which is the topic for today. But understanding that the package build process, the reason it was so complex was that in part was that we needed to run it from the deployment server. And so with this feature from Oracle, it has taken this construct or this paradigm of define or assemble, build, and deploy, and move it from the development client or the deployment server onto the web client. Enabling this or webifying this has lent itself to being orchestrated and again lets us use a modern type of integration and connections into the system where previously this needed to be done through older methodology. So looking at from an architecture perspective, on the left-hand side is the old way of doing package builds, where a CNC person would follow that paradigm of assemble, build, and deploy directly on the deployment server. That build process then gets deployed and propagated through one or many enterprise servers, as well as storing the updated code on the database. On this new system using the web client, uh, customers, users of the system can enable or use the web server, which transfers that information to the enterprise server, and the package build will run from there. That code, in order to make it backwards compatible, there is a link from the enterprise server back to the deployment server, but it is after the fact. And so that deployment server is not as crucial of a component. And again, enabling orchestrations to be run through web calls, essentially. So when we're looking at the actual Oracle delivered orchestrations, their main benefit and description here is that they simplify this package build process considerably by, again, orchestrating or combining all of those lengthy old tasks into one stream. And so the actual process requires much less clicking from, for lack of a better word, from an end user or an administrator. It can be used for either a full package build or an update package, and it will also submit the package build. And so these orchestrations that are delivered, and so customers that are on Tools 925 and have downloaded those UDOs, they can leverage these orchestrations for scheduling and notification of these builds and that they're ready to be deployed. The benefit is that this reduces the time it takes to do the builds. It reduces the overall costs in order to deploy them. And it allows developers and CNCs to essentially remove some of the dependency there and let developers promote, build, or sorry, it will allow developers to have their changes built and deployed much more rapidly without the constant cycle of requesting or creating scheduled builds at certain times of the day. You could have this running almost all the time, and your development team, understanding some of the constraints, their changes can be applied directly and they will be reflected in whichever environment as you configure it. So diving into how it works a little bit more, uh, staying along with this define, build, and deploy method here, these orchestrations will do just that. And so the ones that are delivered and we're talking about today are primarily the define and the build orchestration, which comprises many different components, which is the one on the bottom left here. But with release 25 as of October, Oracle has also delivered a deploy orchestration. And this deploy, it's a service request actually, but this additional component or UDO allows customers to take this automated build process to the next level. And again, we'll see that even with our demo or with our presentation today. So diving into the package build and the automated package build itself, this orchestration requires a few components to work properly. We need to specify with this web service the package name, whether we want an update, whether we want to do an update or a full package, which objects or projects that we want to select, languages, and features. If you are CNC, you'll know all about this now. And if you're not, we're not going to go through the steps today, but certainly post that as a question or reach out and we can dive into all of these for you. On the build side, that was for the assemble. On the build side, we again need to specify which package we're going to do, update or full. We're going to add which servers we're going to build for. We're going to do a server manager health check, which is a critical component here in that when we run the orchestration, we want to ensure that the enterprise server that we're going to deploy it to is operational. Otherwise, we're going to have a problem. And this is a form of error trapping that we want to make sure that things are going to run properly before we actually submit it. So our solution today that we're going to dive into is how we can use this automated orchestration, this automated package build orchestration using a very simple configuration XML and PowerShell. And the reason that we're talking about this today is to demonstrate that using the existing Oracle integrations or orchestrations can be done easily. And even if you're not a JDE expert, but rather looking to automate your DevOps, Oracle has provided things for you today that you can use right out of the box. And configuring them and understanding the process does require a little bit of setup. But once it's complete, you don't need to go in or require a CNC to do much more than that. One thing I'll note is that using PowerShell and an XML config file may not be the right choice for you. And if you've been paying attention to what Oracle is doing, you'll know that they are really promoting orchestrations. And certainly there is a lot of enhancements that you can do or sub in and out of what we're about to see here using Oracle features. But it's really to show that this can be applied to your system today and really to make life easier. And that's really the end game here. And so that is the exact benefit here, is that we can utilize our existing IT management software, our scheduling software, if we have one like RevSoft or something else, and it will utilize some of the complex configurations that I mentioned earlier, like transfer activity rules and other OMW setups that manual builds will use today. Like I mentioned, the Orchestration Studio is certainly a powerful tool that Oracle is enhancing with new features daily, or sorry, quarterly. And you can definitely use orchestrations, and in fact, we have, to really enhance what we're going to look at. And so things like approval of builds and deploys and project transfers into higher environments can be completed with workflow and dynamic notifications and tasks for created for testing users, like an object has been promoted to PY or prototype, please go and test in that environment. Those types of things can be applied easily as well, or that can be applied. And what we need to understand are some of your requirements and use cases. And so, again, we're not going to show an end-to-end sample of all of that, but rather what can we do with automated builds? Because that is, the core components to the whole process itself. So when looking at setting up these orchestrations, and the name is here, but there are many that are required in terms of orchestrations and objects. But one of them is that we need to update our connector. So once we download these UDOs from Oracle and apply them to our system and provide security to the admin users, we need to configure the server manager instance health check and ensure that it is operational before we start. And the reason is that there is a rule that if this doesn't work correctly, your package build won't work correctly. And so again, that's something that needs to be done right away. We also want to subscribe to this notification called package build ready to deploy. And so the process today that we're going to review will take, again, using a script and a config file, some information, and then get the package built and ready to deploy so that the CNC or administrator knows to do the deploy. And the reason that Oracle had done this so far was to give customers the choice to deploy on their time scale, on their time frame. But with some recent enhancements, Oracle has made that a lot easier for customers in terms of a zero downtime for package deploys, as well as enhancing the build and deploy process so that there's less interruption for users. Regardless of those features, which are release 25 in October, we will continue to go through here as it builds on top of the same concept. So as I mentioned, the inputs that are required by the orchestration are outlined below here. We need, again, more discreetly, we need things like we need to come up with a package name. We have to create a name for it so that JDE knows how to identify it in our database, and it needs to be unique. We need to specify a path code, a description, and if it's an update package, we need to choose the parent package for that update package. Looking at the package type, we have to put either a 40 or 41, depending on which we're doing. And of course, we need our objects. So again, we can specify individual objects, an OMW project, or the status of the project. Further to that, we need the foundation, whether we're building a BSSV, a business service, and language and feature lists. Finally, most customers or most most instances of JD Edwards from an architecture perspective will have multiple enterprise servers. And so we need to specify which servers we're going to deploy to, as well as the instance name from Server Manager. There is a degree through the Server Manager health check. There is a lot of integration with that Server Manager instance, and that's why we need that value there. And so all of these values are input into our Oracle orchestrations, and we, as part of our automated system, need to provide these values. And so that's where our configuration and our PowerShell script comes into play here. And so What that looks like is using our config file, where we can have one or many of these set up and ready to go, and then being executed by our PowerShell script, which is the facility to manage and orchestrate all of these different subcomponents. Where how are we going to get the feature list, or which update package do we want, or which projects do we want? All of that happens within the script there, and then can be scheduled within our IT operations software. So looking at a process map here, it looks something like this, or it looks like this. When the system or the script starts, it will import all of those variables from the config file. And I have a screenshot of that at the end. And so that config file will specify all of those items. So update package, server names, and those components. And that is also where you can automatically or dynamically extract those from either Server Manager, or you can manually keep them in there. And you can have different configurations for DV and PY. You can have configurations for either update packages and full packages. And so those are the ones that we've implemented at our lab, but that's how we would use those. And so our script here then would read the config file, understand whether it's an update or a full package, and then start to populate some of those values. So again, whether 40 or 41 for update, it will go and find the parent package if it's an update package, and then go and look at projects that are at a certain status. And so this scenario here, we're doing a DV update package, and our transfer activity rules show that we're going to build everything that's at status 21A. And that is a familiar, maybe not that status, but that likely would be a familiar steps for developers looking to promote or build all objects and projects at a certain status. So all they would need to do is promote their project to 21A, and then this system will pick up all of the objects that they've got. If there's no objects, they will send an email to the appropriate people saying that there's nothing to build. Otherwise, it will then start to construct the JSON and the web service call to initiate the package build. The first part of that is to get the AIS token from the server itself. It then, once using the token value, will pull all of the data in that we just garnered from those scripts, and then submit the orchestration itself. And so you can see here the first portion here, that is where we will overlap with the Oracle orchestration. That orchestration that's delivered is called, and our PowerShell script disconnects the AIS session. This is important because if we don't, this is a proper programming best practices, where if we don't disconnect this session, it will remain open until it's timed out. From there, what we want to do is understand whether this package build is completed or not completed. And using SQL, we will query the status of that package build. And when it is completed, we will deploy or send an email to the appropriate people so that it can be deployed. From there, we will get the list of the built objects and include that actually in the package email. But with release 25, this is where we would inject the JDE service request that's deployed package to server. And so this feature or orchestration relies on tools 929 because of some uplifts that they did on the tools layer, but they've also delivered this service request that we can either call through our PowerShell script or IT management software, or we can add on to our existing automated build orchestration. Either way will work. And Oracle has developed this with this in mind to allow customers to choose what options work for them. Finally, we promote our project from 21A to a status that indicates that it is ready to be tested. And so that is how we would perform our automated build without the use of CNCs or administrators with systematic software like IT management or scheduling systems or RevSoft scheduler. I mentioned here around the configuration file, and so I've put it in here now just to give a little example of what it would look like. And so again, it uses XML. Your config file may look, or you may want to use something different, but these variables need to be defined and filled in somewhere because that's where our orchestration, that's what our orchestration requires. We need all of these components here in order to execute that orchestration successfully. And so with that, we've got 4 minutes to go, and I wanted to be right on time, and I was. Thank you. And if there's any questions or comments, please put them in there, and I'll be happy to answer them. Oops.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Nick. So a couple questions came through. First question, have you found that customers need to upgrade their web servers or hardware to accommodate this new functionality?
So that's a great question. And so in terms of upgrade, we need to have at minimum the tools 925. That's the minimum tools release that we need for those package build orchestrations. Once we've done that, there is no additional load on the web servers themselves, though the beyond configuring the AIS server and the enterprise server does most of the heavy lifting on package builds. And so from the web server perspective, as long as we have a separated HTML instance that our AIS instance uses, it will be as it will be good to go there. Hopefully that answered that question. And if not, I'd love to stay on and talk more about that. But
Yeah, we have another question. It was, do we have these UDOs with release 24 or tools 9274?
yes, so you do indeed. If you've downloaded and applied that tools release, that is beyond the minimum. So you won't have the deploy service request. And you can, or what you would have to do is download the UDOs from Change Update Center.
Thanks, Nick. One more just came through. If setting up an update package orchestration, can you set it up to prompt for the project name before running?
So from an orchestration perspective, no. From our script perspective, I glossed over that, but what we do on the update package is query to find out what the full package is. So which one is deployed to the servers we've specified, and then we auto-populate that full package in there. In terms of a user interface or something that will do that for you, that certainly is possible because you would, rather than automatically finding the deployed package, you could build a list of full packages and then have the user select which one. Again, that would also require some form of interface and a facility to sort of drive that. Whereas this system is completely automated beyond having the developer put the project in status 21A.
Awesome. And then a couple more. These are from the same individuals. So they asked, can you show a quick demo to show how simple it can be? And they asked which parts of the solution are not from Oracle, which are from Oracle.
Yeah, so the parts of this, so in terms of a demo, I will not be able to show one now. And the main reason being that having a package build is not that exciting because we're clicking and looking at statuses change. That being said, that's certainly something that we can set up very easily for you if you want to do that. In terms of what is delivered by Oracle, I utilized only the orchestrations that are delivered. So there are a few update automated package build orchestrations, rules, notifications There is a bundle of them that I will send out as part of this follow-up here. And I used only what Oracle had delivered. In terms of what was customized, it is that configuration XML file, and there is a PowerShell script that needs to be executed by either a service management or scheduling type of software. Those I manually, or those we created or developed on our own. And that's what you could adapt for your own system.
Okay, awesome. Great questions, everybody. Thank you so much. We're right at time. Thank you, Nick, for answering those questions. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. In case you missed anything, we'll be sending out an email with all the attendees with a recording of the webinar, as well as a post survey. Anyone who completes the survey will receive a Starbucks gift card as a token of our appreciation. In the
Nice.
meantime, please make sure to check us out on LinkedIn. We're always sharing helpful tips and blog posts, and we hope to see you at our next series in the new year. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you very much.